Welcome back, ghouls, ghosts, and glitchy Roombas. Today we're dialing into one of the most infamous dates in history, Friday the 13th.
Woo!
And we're doing so on Friday the 13th. Why do we fear this day? Was it Loki's fault, Judas, or just the number 13 have a really bad PR team?
I think it was all of them.
I think, yeah. D for all of the above.
Yep, all the above.
Or F for Friday the 13th. All the above.
Get out of here. So we're digging into mythology, religion, numerology, and pop culture's weird obsession with unlucky things. From Jason Voorhees to Taylor Swift, cursed elevators to cursed sequels. We're asking the big question. Did we make this day cursed, or was it doomed from the start? So grab your sage, cross your fingers, and maybe don't stand up first at the dinner table. This is the Afterlife Hotline, and today we're pressing 13.
Let's start with the number 13 itself. In Norse mythology, there's a story about a dinner party in Valhalla. 12 gods were invited. Everything was chill until Loki showed up. He is the god of chaos, if you didn't know.
I didn't. Totally didn't know. Nope.
Really?
Nope. I only know Loki from
Marvel?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
He's the god of chaos.
I don't know anything about Greek mythology. Or
Interesting.
Anything, so.
All right.
Yeah,
I might
this
have
did
to...
me a learned. Yeah.
I'm team that. He shows up uninvited as the 13th guest. And because Loki can't just vibe, he ends the party by orchestrating the death of Balder, the god of light and joy.
You know what I just realized? The 13th guest. I'm very glad that your birthday is only going to have 12 people. I just thought about that.
Oh, wow. Because I did for sure have other people, too.
Yeah, because you told me the other day there's just going to be 12, right?
Yeah. And that's if
no
everyone
one
shows
else
up.
better come, because we do not need an unlucky 13th guest.
Well, that depends on how you think about it. Is it lucky? Is it unlucky?
I mean, for you, it'd be lucky because we'd have extra people at your birthday, but...
Especially if we're going Survivor.
Yeah.
So from the beginning, we get this idea. 12 equals balance and completedness. 13, chaos, betrayal, and even death.
Okay.
That structure shows up again in Christianity. At the Last Supper, Jesus dines with his 12 disciples. And who was guest number 13? Judas, the betrayer. Jesus was crucified the next day on a Friday.
I didn't read the Bible because I didn't know that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I knew about the Last Supper and stuff like that, but I didn't realize all of that
Went down.
Yup.
And Fridays, they've had bad PR for centuries. Way before Casual Friday was a thing, people were already side-eyeing it. In old maritime lore...
If we're saying that wrong. Blame me. I don't know.
Sailors avoided setting sail on Fridays. There was even a saying, Friday sail, sorrow prevail. Christian tradition, Friday was said to be the day that Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit. It is also when Cain killed Abel and the day that the Temple of Solomon was destroyed. And of course, as we've said already, the crucifixion of Jesus.
Good Friday, also known as Holy Friday, Great and Holy Friday, or Friday of the Passion of the Lord, is the solemn Christian holiday, holy day, commemorating the crucifixion of Jesus and his death at the Calvary. So yes, he was crucified on Good Friday. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So when you stack Friday, already seen as unlucky, with the number 13, which breaks cosmic patterns, you've got the perfect recipe for superstition. In numerology, 12 is the number of completedness, 12 months in a year, 12 zodiac signs, 12 hours on a clock, 12 Olympian gods, 12 disciples.
My mind is blown right now. I knew some of that, but I didn't know all of that.
It just probably never clicked.
No.
And then 13 comes crashing in and changing the system. The uninvited guest all over again. Fear even has a name. I'm not going to try to pronounce this.
We'll put it up here because I have no freaking clue.
It's a phobia. And it's literally the fear of number 13. It's serious enough that even buildings skip the 13th floor, airplanes skip row 13, hospitals skip room 13. Like if we pretend it doesn't exist, it can't get us.
I never noticed that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to pay more attention now at those places.
So is it a cursed coincidence or have we made it cursed?
I think we made it cursed.
I think we made it cursed.
Yeah. Zooming out globally, the fear of Friday the 13th isn't universal. In some cultures, it's not even a thing. Take Italy. Over there, the cursed day is Friday the 17th. Why? Because 17 in Roman numerals is XVII. Rearranged, it spells VIXI, which is Latin translates to I have lived, a poetic way of saying I'm dead now. Then there's Spain and Greece, where the dreaded day isn't Friday the 13th, it's Tuesday the 13th. Tuesday in Spanish is, word I can't say, named after Mars, the god of war. So when you add the energy of war to the bad luck of 13, you get a whole new curse combo. In those cultures, Tuesday the 13th is enough to reschedule surgeries, flights, or weddings. That's crazy. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But not all cultures see 13 as unlucky. In Judaism, 13 is actually sacred. It symbolizes divine love and unity. There are 13 attributes of mercy in the Torah, and a boy becomes a man at his bar mitzvah at age 13. In ancient Egypt, life was thought to be made of 12 stages. The 13th stage was the afterlife, not scary, but sacred, a symbol of transcendence. And in China, the number 4 is feared far more than 13. That's actually very true because I had a conversation with Stephen and his dad about it, and that they believe that number 4 is a very unlucky number, which is creepy because my favorite number is 4.
Yeah, especially with your angel number, isn't it?
Yeah.
444?
Yeah, and I was 4 at in soccer, so.
Oh yeah.
So 4 is my favorite number, and Stephen and his dad were like, 4 is an unlucky number. I was like, well, been lucky for me.
Sorry,
so.
Steven. You sure know how to pick them. Love you.
But 13 doesn't hold much weight. It's mostly neutral, sometimes even positive. So while some are hiding from black cats and skipping floor numbers, others are lighting candles and celebrating 13 as something mystical or divine. It really depends on where you're standing.
I think that's pretty interesting, though, that, we think of Friday the 13th, and it could be just a regular day, and I think it is for most people. Mm-hmm. But for us, especially here in America, it's like, oh my God, it's unlucky 13, or like tattoo shops even do like flash sales on Friday the 13th. But in other cultures, it's different days.
Yeah, I don't think Friday the 13th is. I just see it as any other day. To be completely honest,
I feel like it's almost like a manifested thing.
Yeah, because you're gonna sit there and you're gonna think like, oh, it's Friday the 13th, all this bad stuff's gonna happen,
Mm-hmm.
and your mind is a powerful thing, and so I believe a lot of people manifest that type of stuff.
These days, when people hear Friday the 13th, they're not thinking of Norse mythology. They're thinking of one man, Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
The Friday the 13th film franchise launched in 1980 with a creepy camp, murdered counselors, and a vengeful mother. But once Jason put on that hockey mask in part 3, a horror icon was born.
Yep.
He's on my shirt. You can't see it.
He's there. Promise.
The franchise now has 12 films, and here's the kicker. They haven't even made a 13th. It's been in development limbo for years.
Do you think they're ever going to make a 13?
No.
Yeah. Do you think they're just going to skip it and make a 14, or just cut it all together?
I think they're probably just going to cut it all together, or they're just going to consistently make reboots, but never actually a 13th.
That makes sense.
Some fans have even called it the cursed sequel. But it's not just movies, and of course I had to put this in there. TVs have its own quiet superstition. The British sci-fi comedy Red Dwarf, 12 official seasons, but no season 13. Instead, they dropped in a long special that almost filled the gap, but never officially labeled it a 13th season.
What are they? Didn't they call it like a mini movie?
So they called it. It's Red Dwarf: The Promised Land, and it was a 2-hour long special, not movie, not TV show. But when you break it down, every one of their seasons is 6 episodes and 30 minutes.
Oh,
So 2 hours is 4 episodes. So it was almost a full season, but they didn't call it a season.
dang.
Coincidence? Maybe, but we noticed as fans if you couldn't tell.
Yeah. They're like, where's our episode? Where's our season?
Listen,
We don't. I mean,
I am team. Give me all of the Red Dwarf content.
She's like, I don't care if it's cursed. I want to see y'all for
I
another
named
season.
my car Starbug. Give me the content.
Her license plate literally says Starbug.
I have a record that's Red Dwarf. I used to have the books, but I did give them to my dad.
Yeah. I'm sure he greatly appreciates those.
Oh yeah. Anyway, get off of my soapbox about Red Dwarf. Some shows avoid the 13th episode altogether, especially in dramas or horror. Others will lean into it, like House MD. They introduced a character literally named 13, played by Olivia Wilde. Mysterious, brilliant, and tragic.
House MD. House?
House, yeah.
I didn't know that. I loved me watching some House, though.
Honestly. In anime, characters marked with the number 13 often carry cursed powers or dark destinies.
I'll have to ask Steven about that. I didn't realize that either.
And then there's Harry Potter. In The Prisoner of Azkaban, Professor Trelawney warns, when 13 dine together, the first to rise will be the first to die.
Oh.
Later that evening, 13 people sit down for Christmas dinner. It's the professor's table, the head of the table. Dumbledore is the first to stand and the first to die. Fans still debate whether or not this is a prophecy or a clever coincidence. Either way,
I think it's a prophecy.
it was subtle and powerful.
Wow. So is that as like the Last Supper type thing?
I don't know if they considered it like a Last Supper type of thing, because a lot of the students,
They're at a dinner.
yeah, a lot of the students considered Professor Trelawney to be a kook, and she wasn't really well regarded.
Is this the lady with the glasses and stuff? Okay, she might have been a kooky lady, but I feel like she knew some shit.
Oh yeah, well it's like My Dear Boy, you have the Grimm, and Sirius Black is literally.
Yes. First of all, she's probably kooky because she's seen some shit.
Oh yeah, I mean we could probably delve into a whole episode with that series.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
See, this shows you how much I don't pay attention to things because I've watched these movies and I don't remember that.
Well, I think it's
I
also.
don't remember a lot of things.
I think it's also one of those things that when you're watching it, unless you like go into the lore, you're not really gonna pick it up.
To be fair, I think when I watched these, I was a lot younger too.
True. Yeah.
So I haven't really watched any of the Harry Potter since I've been.
Am I sensing
an
a
adult.
marathon?
I mean, we're gonna have to eventually, regardless. We've talked about it for long enough. We're gonna have
yeah,
to.
we're going to Universal, so we kind of.
We're gonna have to before Universal now.
Just means I'm going to have to steal you. In music, Black Sabbath released their debut album on Friday the 13th in 1970, basically inventing doom metal. I do love me some Black Sabbath. Meanwhile, Taylor Swift, she calls 13 her lucky number. Born on the 13th, turned 13 on Friday the 13th, and writes it on her hand before every show.
So I think that in general, just either A, confirms a lot of people's speculations about her, if you know, you know, or B, it just proves that the bad things that come from the unlucky 13 is just manifested. Because for some, like Taylor, it could be
positive
and lucky.
Gaming, of course, gets in on this action. Resident Evil drops Friday the 13th references in files and lores. Final Fantasy XIII, which I can't think of what the fuck. What is that one?
I don't know. 23? I don't know. 13? I think it's literally 13 because we're talking about 13. Because X is 10.
Oh yeah, 13.
That would
by the way,
would make sense for doing an episode.
By the way, for Roman numerals, when you do that, X plus 3 ones. So
yeah, because it's like V. That's something else.
5.
Yeah,
that I know that from Red Dwarf. Because they use
dumbass. I'm sitting here saying 23. It's fucking. Duh, we're talking about 13.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 13, ambiguous and polarizing, launched an entire trilogy, but fans call it one of the most cursed entries. So whether it's horror, fantasy, metal, or even pop, Friday the 13th shows up like an Easter egg of eerie energy.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all of our lore and history on Friday the 13th. Mm-hmm. To add a little bit extra, because we wanted this to be kind of a special episode, we have found one Reddit story apiece, and then we have ChatGPT generated.
Have you seen that video of Bunny?
Yeah.
Where she's like, I just keep on to say ChatGPT. GPT.
I just want to do that too.
It just ChatGPT, GBT. B is easier to say than P.
Yeah.
But it's definitely P. But,
So we each have one Reddit story and one generated story apiece. We're going to read those.
I just wanted to give a brief trigger warning for our viewers and listeners. These next 2 Reddit stories do contain disturbing and graphic content. This includes descriptions of deceased animals and references to child sexual exploitation. These subjects are extremely sensitive and may be triggering for many people. Please take care of your mental health, and if these topics are harmful or distressing for you, we strongly recommend skipping this next segment. Okay, so this is a little bit of a longer one, so I'm going to try to speak faster. It is from Creepypasta, You Sarky Detector. It says, why I will never forget that Friday the 13th. When I was younger, my parents would always arrange play dates for me because I wasn't exactly the most social of kids, and I didn't really have many friends. I mean, back then, I'd feel annoyed with them when they did this. I didn't mind sitting in my room, tipping my plastic crate of Star Wars toys upside down and acting out stories with the most acrobatic lightsaber battles you ever saw. I suppose doing this all the time by myself was slightly weird, and being an only child, I'd be lying if I told you there wasn't times I wish somebody else could be there, if only so that the space battles and ground duels could happen simultaneously. My problem was, though, that unless I knew you, I wasn't likely to interact with you, which was quite the dilemma for my young mind. So in retrospect, it was probably a good thing that I was forced to sit in bedrooms of a variety of different kids, awkwardly agreeing to whatever they wanted to do while I sweated over their opinion of me. I would have been more grateful for it now if it hadn't been for that one Friday the 13th. My parents wanted to go out for dinner, so I was pawned off on a couple of new friends of theirs for the night, as they had a child who was of similar age to me. I did my usual tantrums and begging, but the less enthusiasm compared to those first few times. I knew the drill by that point, and they weren't going to change their mind. When I got there, he was in the middle of having a bath, so his parents told me I could just go to his room and play with his toys. This ended up with me sat on a chair, arms folded and bored in his room because my social awkwardness wouldn't dare let me just touch some kid's toys without asking. This kid's very, what is it? What's the term?
Respectful, self-aware.
Mature for his age.
Ah.
And that too.
Yeah.
I stuck to a strict look but don't touch policy. The temptation was high when I saw a Stretch Armstrong sitting on his desk. That was the latest fad at the time, and it looked amazing in all those commercials that would play on Cartoon Network. I just wanted to see if it really could stretch for miles. At that point, I heard someone running toward the room. I turned to the door, and a kid younger than I am appeared. He said hello and was all excited and friendly. He told me his big brother was taking a bath and asked if I wanted to see something. This kind of put me at ease being there, to be honest. I loved kids that didn't really care what I had to say and that could just talk and talk. I agreed to see whatever it was he wanted to show me and followed him. He took me through the kitchen and there was a door there and he opened it, which led to the basement. He walked halfway down the stairs and just stood still, pointing at something that was in the corner of the room. I climbed down to where he was and tried to get a better look at it.
No.
Yeah. I asked him what it was, but he just kept pointing at it and ushering me over to it. I thought it was just some dumb game he was playing or something, so I just went right down the stairs and approached it. As I got closer, all I could see was some sort of scrumpled up brown paper bag. It looked like it was quite soggy. There was a nearby rake, so I picked that up and prodded at it before deciding to open it up. Trigger warning. Just letting you know. When I opened it, I almost threw up right there on the spot. The stench was fucking horrendous, and I can still remember the smell even now. It was just this cat. It was dead, but obviously not for long. I began dry heaving after I noticed its right arm bone had popped out through. I remembered the little brother just laughing at me and then just running away. I went straight back to the bedroom afterwards and saw my play date in there at that point. I couldn't think of anything to say to the kid, and I felt quite nervous, so I blurted out the story of this dead cat his brother had just showed me. I remember telling him the story, and he just gave me this look. It was a look as if I was some sort of crazy. He was nodding along, but his face was screwing up. The more of it I told him. Once I told him the full story, he just sort of froze for a second, looking like confused and shit. Then he turned to me and said something I'll never forget till the day that I die. He just said, "I don't have a brother." My parents never took me for a play date again after that, and to this day, whenever I bring this up, I swear it must have been my imagination or something that I remember all wrong. It's become a sort of tradition of mine to question them on this date because it reminds me of that strange little boy. We moved away from that town a few years later, and it's been 15 years since, and I still don't really know what the fuck happened, but I swear that kid was really there.
No.
I'm curious who
it was?
Who got a hold of the cat. Was it the ghost that killed the cat?
Or was the cat not even there?
Yeah, just playing tricks on his mind.
Yeah. That's what I'm going with because I don't want to think about a hurt cat.
Well, yeah, no. But it was just weird to me that he was telling the kid, and the kid was like,
I don't have a brother.
I don't have a brother.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like that would pique my interest and make me want to go like, okay, where's this cat? Like, because I need to tell my parents about it. Where's this cat? Show me this cat.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know.
I didn't like that.
I know. I'm so sorry.
You're fine. So the one I have is from our Reddit stories, and it's from Kit Kat. True horrifying story that happened to me when I was 12.
Ooh.
It was Friday the 13th, and I went on a weekend scouts camp. When I arrived at the place, I was checked in by my name, received my room number. It was 13. I was really afraid of this room because of an old camp horror story. It was about a girl who fell off the top bunk in this room and fell with her foot in a can, and she walked around looking for help like this to tell the story in short form, is what this person said. Very disappointed, I took my bags to the room, chose my bed. That night at bedtime, my friends and I talked and giggled about boys at the camp. We lost track of time and didn't realize it was lights out already. We continued to giggle loudly, and one of the teachers came to speak with us. She left our room door open as punishment. I can't sleep with the door open at night. This really bothers me. Due to that, and it was the first night, I couldn't fall asleep, so I just tossed and turned. I laid silently trying to fall asleep until I saw a flashlight shining through the door directly into my eyes. I immediately made it look like I was already sleeping and thinking it might be one of the teachers doing some kind of rounds to see if everything was okay. The person stood there, shining the light for quite some time before moving along to the next room. Now, before I go on, I just want to paint a picture of how this place looked. It was a train-shaped place, like with boys sleeping on the left side of the train and girls on the right side of the train. Between the rooms were little halls dividing the sleeping rooms. So it was basically like a hallway, girls on one side, boys on the other. Almost like a hotel room, I would think.
Okay.
Hotel, like, yeah.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying. At night, teachers locked the doors, keeping the boys and men on one side and the girls and the women on the other side. I probably dozed off because I woke up to a dark, big figure standing in the corner of our room by the edge of my feet, following by footsteps down the hall. At that time, I thought it was my mind playing tricks on me because I was tired. But looking back at it now, it was hiding from the person walking in the hall.
Oh, jeez.
I dozed off again and woke up to the flash shining in my eyes, but I kept my eyes shut. I opened it as soon as the light didn't shine anymore and saw the person shining it to the other children's face before entering the room, stood right in the middle of the room. I got so afraid, I just closed my eyes and prayed, clearly seeing that it was a man and not a woman. So it should have been a woman.
They shouldn't have been there anyway because they were a man. Got it.
Thoughts ran through my head like, is this a burglar? Does he have a knife or a gun? Is he going to kill us? Or is he just one of the teachers trying to see if we're okay? I woke up to a clicking like sound, the sound of a phone camera taking a photo. And what I saw was terrifying. It almost made 12-year-old me want to wet my pants and just scream and cry.
I would have.
The man was taking pictures of my sleeping friend's bare bottom. By the way, I did not read this all the way through. All I saw was it was Friday the 13th.
Gotcha.
The phone's flash was on, and that's why I could see it. I saw her blanket was pulled away, and her pants were down to her knees, and her underwear were nowhere to be seen. I didn't know what to do with all of this terrifying situation, so I stayed there and laid for a while while I thought it through. I moved to check if my clothing was still on, and then I made a sound in my sleep to see how he would react. He immediately put his flash off, and just a few seconds shone it at my face again. I looked at him trying to get clues. He was a tall, white, bald, married man. He had an iPhone, and then the fear just kept boiling in me. I have to stop him, but how am I going to do this? At this point, I just lay there with tears rolling down my eyes silently.
Wait. If he was in there, I would be screaming because isn't there like the adults in there as well?
I don't know if there's adults in the room, but they should be in the halls.
In the same...
Or like close enough.
That's scary, especially as a 12-year-old.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine dealing with that.
No.
I prayed for help, and suddenly I just got the courage in me to say, "Teacher, what are you doing?" in a cute, innocent way, and the man ran away. Teacher, why did I say teacher? It could have been a burglar, but I also realized that the voice that spoke was much higher than mine. I started to cry, getting out of bed, closing the door, and putting on the light. My two friends awoke with the light, which is funny because they didn't wake up while the flashing was going in their faces, but the girl it happened to was still asleep. I told them what had happened, and they looked at me like I was crazy. Then the girl, Carla, woke up, and I told her, and she saw her pants were down and underwear were cut loose. The other friends then believed me, and we went to go tell the teachers what happened. The next day, we went to the police department, making a charge of child pornography and breaking and entering. I had to make my statement, and on my way there, I saw 3 male teachers sitting there to take DNA. One looking a lot like the description and avoiding eye contact with me. I have a feeling it was him. While I took my statement, one of the teachers came to me and said that the teacher who I thought it was confessed it was him. I've never been so happy in my life before. I saved my friend Carla and probably my other 2 friends' life at that point. See, when I first read this story, all I saw was Friday the 13th, I saved my friend Carla and probably my other 2 friends. Did not read the middle. Probably would have not.
I mean, that's scary.
And Friday the 13th, I couldn't imagine.
I'm just glad that they caught him, though.
Yeah.
And that they figured out who it was.
Kudos to that person. Definitely need something different than that.
So mine is called The Last Call. They say you shouldn't answer unknown numbers on Friday the 13th. Good thing I have my phone set to blocking unknown numbers, especially after midnight. Ashley thought it was just a dumb superstition. She and Denisha were editing a podcast episode late into the night when Ashley's phone rang. No caller ID. She laughed, hit decline, and kept working. It rang again. Same number, same time. 12:13 a.m. Denisha, ever the ghost enthusiast, dared her to answer it on speaker.
No.
So she did. At first, silence, then static, then a voice. But not just any voice. It was Ashley's voice. Panicked, echoing, saying, "Don't let me answer. I'm still in here. It's not me anymore."
But we answered.
I know. The call dropped. Ashley stared at her phone. "It's some AI prank or something," she said. "Deep fake, whatever." I will say it is very scary getting a phone call from your own voice, because I remember back in high school, don't know who it was, have a suspicion I know who it was, decided to call me and use my own voice. It's very weird. And they made it say not so nice things. So, bullying's not nice, FYI.
Mm-hmm.
But when she looked at her screen, her lock screen photo had changed. No more dog, no more plants. It was her, standing in their kitchen, looking directly at the camera. In their kitchen, we lived together. Gasp!
Is that going to be something new that happened?
No. And behind her, something tall, something with no face, just teeth. They ran to the kitchen, empty, but on the table sat Ashley's phone, still recording a call at 0013. And the voice on the other end, still hers, still screaming. Ashley didn't sleep that night, and neither did Denisha. By morning, they convinced themselves it was a tech glitch, or maybe just a prank pulled by someone in their spooky little podcast community. But just to be safe, Denisha ran the number through a burner trace app. She would do that. Most definitely.
I do that anytime I get numbers.
She needs to work for the FBI, because this bitch can literally find anything.
I'm not that internet. Good.
Yeah, she has to learn to lie to you. And it shouldn't have worked. The number had no caller ID, no origin, but somehow it pinged a location. Ravens Hollow Cemetery. Just outside of town, abandoned for 40 years. Curiosity, or maybe bad judgment, won.
Both.
Yeah. Knowing us, yes. By 3 p.m., they were standing at the rusted gates holding a phone with a blinking red dot on the screen. The location was active. Ashley's voice crackled from the app speaker. "I told you not to come." The blinking dot stopped, then moved, closer. They stepped inside. The graveyard was dead quiet. No birds, no bugs, not even wind. Just rows of cracked headstones and thorny vines. Then they saw it, a rotary phone, sitting on a stone pedestal in the middle of the cemetery, attached to nothing. But it was ringing. 1 ring, 2, 3. Denisha reached out, but Ashley stopped her. "Last time we answered, we heard me. If we answer now, who do you think we'll hear?" They let it ring, but it didn't stop. Back home that night, they played back the podcast recording from the night before. In the background behind the call was something neither of them had heard before. A voice whispering, repeating over and over. "One of you is already gone." They checked their lock screens again. This time, both phones showed the same photo. 2 versions of themselves standing in Raven's Hollow, smiling, eyes black. A week passed. Ashley and Denisha stopped answering unknown numbers, as you should. They unplugged their podcast mics, turned off every location device, burned sage, blessed the house, blocked the cemetery from their GPS, everything. But the calls didn't stop. Every night at 12:13 a.m., their phones rang, and every night the voice got clearer. "She's almost ready. The door is open. All we needed was a voice." They thought about going back to Raven's Hollow, burning the phone, smashing it, burying it again, but they didn't need to, because on Friday the 13th, it came to them. It started with their microphones turning on by themselves, recording with no one speaking. The audio file, a perfect recording of the original call. But this time, it ended differently. Ashley's voice on the tape whispered, "We answered." And then the room went cold. Their front door creaked open, deadbolted, but swinging like it was never locked at all. Wind blew through the living room, the lights flickered, and for a second, they saw them. Versions of themselves standing in the hallway. Same clothes, same faces, smiling, and walking towards the mics. The feed cut, the episode uploaded by itself that night. No title, no description, just one audio track of static, and 2 voices whispering over each other, laughing, telling ghost stories, and at the very end, a third voice, one that no one recognized, saying, Thanks for calling the Afterlife hotline. You've reached the other side.
I don't want to reach the other side.
Yep. What?
Why is it everything uploads by itself?
Because that's how it works.
I didn't know we had ghosts in the cloud, bitch.
Yes. They are very much in the cloud.
I don't like that.
No, it's not ghosts in the clouds. It's
Lilith, our queen editor.
Lilith. Thanks to Lilith for editing this video and uploading it for us.
Shit.
Bitch
also
takes all the credit.
I love how we're living together. You know, we would have been absolute menaces if we ever did live together.
Oh, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely.
Menaces. He's just looking at me menacingly. My ChatGPT story is called The House That Hated Fridays. The Afterlife Hotline Field Report, Friday the 13th. We've heard the legend whispered in paranormal forms. A crumbling house deep in the Arkansas woods where no one stays past one night, especially on Friday the 13th. Locals call it the Thorn House. We shouldn't have gone. The place wasn't just abandoned. It looked angry. Trees grew twisted away from it. The air buzzed like hornets before a storm. We barely crossed the threshold before our gear started glitching. Statics on honestly. Static on the recorders, drained batteries, cameras refusing to focus as if the house didn't want to be seen. We set up anyway. Of course. At first, it was just small things. Footsteps above us when the second floor had collapsed years ago. A woman humming echoed from an unplugged radio. The unmistakable scent of something rotting, though nothing was there.
Demons.
Then Ashley found the basement door. It wasn't there when we arrived. Inside, the floor was covered in soot except for one patch of clean, untouched wood at the center. A perfect square. Denisha stepped in to get a reading. You out your damn mind. She didn't hear the door slam but shut behind her. She didn't see the writing appear on the walls, but you saw the writing. She took them all, and she'll take you too. Every 13th, every Friday. Ashley yanked the door open and pulled her out. The square on the floor had turned black, burned as if something had tried to light it. We left everything behind and ran away. We went back to the house the next day, but the house was gone. Nothing but an empty clearing and scorched earth. We don't know what we stepped into, but something waits in that spot every Friday the 13th for someone just curious enough to come close. Next time, it won't let them leave.
You are out your damn mind if you're stepping into the little summoning square that's in the middle of it.
Yeah, not happening. I might be dumb, but I ain't that dumb.
Apparently, story you is.
Well, apparently story me also.
I'm glad real you isn't. Because we'd be getting into some real shenanigans.
Could you imagine?
I would have
what's that square?
Let me step in it. I would have to save you. And that would not work. Because my ass would probably be pooping my pants. Because I would probably be scared shitless.
I feel like you would have already left me.
Knowing my track record, yeah, probably.
You would have been like freaking Shaggy and Scooby. The moment something happens, you're just gone.
So
zoinks, gone.
I would either run away scared and accidentally leave you behind, or two, I would just be so pissed off and just go the fuck off on whatever entity was trying to. You get one or the other. There's no in between.
I could just see you like it's this giant demon that takes up a whole fucking like.
I'm gonna beat your ass.
Fucking dare you! I don't think either one of us have really had our own experiences with Friday the 13th.
No,
I'll make jokes like whenever there's like crappy drivers, and I'll be like, "Bruh, it's a Friday the 13th," but I haven't really experienced anything. I don't think.
I'm one of those that I don't realize it's Friday the 13th until it's actually Friday the 13th, and I just happen to like look at my phone or somebody tells me, "Oh, it's Friday the 13th," and I'm like, "Oh, okay," and then I forget about it.
The only reason I know it's ever Friday the
Tattoos.
13th is because tattoos. Yeah, I want a Friday the 13th tattoo. I just haven't been able to yet. So, is Friday the 13th cursed, or is it just a calendar glitch we've collectively decided to fear? From Norse drama queens to numerology chaos, from Jason's machete to Dumbledore's last dinner. This date carries a whole lot of baggage.
But maybe that's the magic of it. It's a day that reminds us how much power we give to numbers, symbols, and stories. Whether you're the type to avoid ladders and black cats, or you wear 13 like a lucky charm, what matters most is what you believe. Agreed to that. Agreed to that. Because you got to pet all the black cats.
Mic drop. Agree. Thanks for holding with us through all of the spooky lore, pop culture detours. And if you've got a Friday the 13th story to tell, or you survived one without summoning a demon, slide into our DMs and leave us a voicemail. Just kidding. It's an email. Don't leave us a voicemail.
Yeah.
We
are called the Afterlife Hotline, but we don't. There's not a number. We have comments, DM us, or we have an email right here.
Until next time, stay weird, stay curious. And someone uninvited shows up at dinner, maybe just offer them dessert and hope for the best.
Especially if they're number 13.
This is the Afterlife Hotline.
Bye, guys.
Bye.